Hey everybody, and welcome back to Elven Dogs. This is, of course, Sir Ansbach, and I'm out here just being the coolest person in the Shadowlands here. No one really knows how cool Lord Moog was back in the day, and we used to party. That guy, he was all right. He sometimes was out of line, and I'm not going to get into it, but he
does a nasty keg stand.
He does a nasty keg stand. He was a little misunderstood, and he would sometimes just cut himself and suck his own blood. I don't know. Tyler, I forgot how to podcast.
It was like everybody's frat bro that saw Blade and was like, I could be a daywalker.
He was way too into the movie Blade.
Yeah, all of his frat parties at his fraternity were just techno music with red Kool-Aid, because getting that much blood to come through a sprinkler system has got to be A, time consuming.
Yeah.
B, expensive.
Impractical.
Yeah, it's going to ruin your furniture.
Yeah.
So,
but some people just try and ice skate uphill. What can I say? Yes, this is Ansbach. Happy to be back.
This is Lady Freya, buzzing off of a trip outside of the Shadowlands, or the lands between.
The Land of Shadow.
The Land of Shadow. I took a trip to a place called Chicago.
Whoa.
Where there was
I think that's where Horalu's from.
Yeah, ran in
the Badlands.
Yeah. And then I got to see a little ditty called Hot Mulligan.
Ooh, I hear they're very good.
Yeah, my body's sore.
Yeah, I was in New York for 4 days, and I got decently sick off of that.
Yeah.
Yep, I was out of commission for a little while. And as soon as I got better, I partied pretty hard this last weekend and threw my neck out again.
Hey, getting old is awesome.
Yeah, the Vulgar Militia knows how to rage, dude. Those guys. So, yes, we are here again to continue our journey in the Land of Shadow here. Last time, we discussed the Shadow Altus. And this is the awkward center area where it's a little sprawling. So what we're going to do to start this off is go towards the I should have practiced saying this. Rauh Base.
Rauh.
I'm gonna look that up because it's gonna bother me.
But Rauh is something that I can pronounce. It sounds like something that the New Zealand rugby team would yell at you before their match when they do. I don't know what it's called. Have you ever seen that? Where they like slap their thighs and beat their chest and scream at the other team.
It's called a Haktua. I had a dream about it last night. It's the Haka.
The Haka, yeah. It sounds like something they would say.
We're drinking some beers, as we do here on Elden Dogs. This is, of course, from New Glarus Brewing out of Wisconsin. This is a Pilsner.
And hey, it's got to be better than Spotted Cow.
Yes, we are going...
That's tasty.
To first venture out of the Shadow Altus towards the Rauh Base, the Rauh Base, the Rauh Base. And I'm going to say it differently.
Almost every time.
Another time or two. Just this episode. But don't you worry, because by the time we do the full ruins in 3 months, 2 months, we'll have figured that out.
So it's the Rauh Base where people align with their chakras and touch trees.
Yes, as a Leo, I think it's bullshit.
I don't know what I am anymore because they added one, and I don't know if I'm affected by it.
You're a giant crayfish.
Dude, that'd honestly be kind of cool.
Well, I mean, you're Lady Freya, you'd be like a lion. You'd maybe be a Leo as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could be okay with that. Lions are cool.
Lions are cool. I was saying the Rauh ruins before, but we're going to go with Rauh for this. To get to the base now, the ruins, you've seen them up northwest of here, and it's you want to go up there. You don't know how to get up there. So this is nothing in the Shadow Realm makes a lot of sense direction-wise. To get east, you go west.
It is a fun game in terms of exploration when you do finally figure out how to get somewhere, but my brain has been trained by like Assassin's Creed Odyssey or Red Dead Redemption 2, where you can turn off the hood, and if you see a spot out in the distance, you can just go there. Because you're like, I just got to keep heading north. But in the lands between, there's a lot of construction, a lot of overpasses and underpasses and caves.
Yeah.
And you'd never really know how you're going to get to your destination.
Whoever was making these tunnels to get down to the Cerulean Coast, I don't know. Like
MapQuest can't even help you.
MapQuest would be fucked down here. So MapQuest would say, Go southeast towards Morth Ruins, take a left. You will see a tunnel, go through the waterfall.
If you've hit the quick trip, you've gone too far.
Oh, yeah. There are no quick trips, unfortunately. This is the land of speedways. It is dangerous.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you don't want no part of this shit. There's a small pond north of the Morth Ruins that leads into a tunnel. Inside of here, you'll find an incantation that's called Heal from Afar. Fires a projectile towards distant allies that greatly restores HP on contact. Even when far beyond, far out of sight, the Erd Tree will surely give its blessing.
I'm so focused all the time on just maximizing how much damage I can do at the expense of anything I summon. I'm never thinking about healing those guys.
They are never getting healed by me.
Meat shields all the way.
I have no time for you. You are there to absorb damage for me.
Your job is to die.
Yeah, and hopefully you die well and stick around. But yeah, I'm not going to be healing you. Now, there is another use for this spell. Revenants, of course, extremely weak to healing spells.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
So yeah, just throw a healing spell at them. Compared to Lord's Heal, this incantation heals allies by 60% more and costs 10 FP less, also keeping the same effect radius and healing amount. So it's pretty good. And it's just past here, we start hitting a poison marsh. We find some perfumers down here collecting some goods. They need it to make their perfumes. And yeah, it's kind of, I imagine it's a poison marsh because a lot of the water that's trickling down from the Shadow Keep is getting filtered through those ulcerated tree spirits.
Yeah.
It's like that one hotel in California where they found out like the drinking water tasted horrible. And
because the woman was in there.
There's a dead body in the filter and it was all just getting sucked through her.
Yeah. That they still don't know how she got in there. That pops up on my YouTube once a month.
Yeah.
Somebody else is like, have you ever heard this crazy story? I'm like, yeah, 100 times. And until you can tell me how she got in there, I don't care.
The elevator thing is weird.
It is.
But I don't know. Drugs are weird.
Hallucinations. Could be.
Yeah.
People be getting crazy with their hallucinations. Somebody just cut off their penis on mushrooms.
So, there's a poison area down here. Yeah, and like I was saying, I think it's maybe gotten shitty down here because it's directly underneath where this water goes. I wish after you drain the water in Shadowkeep, it would have affected something else elsewhere. That water would have drained down, but sadly not. That would have been a cool thing. There is some Gravebird anklets. This Gravebird set is scattered around all of the DLC. Sadly, it's not one of those sets where you just pick up all of it in one spot. There's a number of Gravebirds, though, here as well, protecting all of the graves in this little poison marsh. And you will find a forager as well, one of the rots, the kindred of rot, that Moore is friends with. This one, you go be nice to it, and it gives you the Forager Brewed Cookbook 5 to make an opaline pickled liver.
It's a friendly reminder that I need to be more nice to people in my life.
Well,
because I attack everything.
You do, but whenever you do try and help them as well, it's bad.
There's got to be a happy medium somewhere.
When I was in New York, I accidentally smiled at someone, and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to get stabbed."
Yeah, they'll mug you.
But then you get on a plane to Wisconsin, and everyone's smiley and nice. I'm like, "Okay,
yeah,
I'm not going to get stabbed." But there's no middle ground. You're either in Wisconsin or New York. You go through this tunnel, you go through the poison marsh, and you will get to the Rauh Base, and it's an unassuming small little area. First thing you're going to notice is some blood fiends wandering around, those beautiful, ugly bastards. Straight ahead, you'll find a Pearl Shield talisman. This talisman is depicting a knight bearing a pearlescent great shield, boosts all non-physical damage negation while guarding. The nature and the potential of impurity surpassed the understanding of the knights, and so they were forced to prepare for all threats known or unknown. Essentially, the world's so fucked up they don't even know what's coming, so they were forced to prepare for literally everything with this great shield. It is a beast, and it boosts all non-physical damage negation by 20% while guarding.
when you're not as good at dodging and getting the iframes early in the game, like when I first started playing Elden Ring, a shield is such a crutch because as long as your poise is high enough or you have good enough stamina, you can just hunker down and take an attack. You can eat one that normally people would dodge. And I just did that for so long at the beginning of the game in my first playthrough that it became necessary for me.
Yeah.
I was better at the game with a shield than if I was just trying to dual wield katanas because everybody tried to bleed build at some point.
Yeah.
I just would get my shit wrecked. The shield is like, it's a crutch for me big time.
Yeah. I should fuck around with them more. North of here, you'll find the Blood Fiend's Sacred Spear by some of the Blood Fiends here. This is a great spear of the Hexers, one of the most significant implements used in their blood rituals. Sacred spears of blood are the instruments of communion with an outer god. The mother of truth desires a wound. So these people are worshiping the same god as my brother Moog, my brother in blood. Yeah, the blood mother is a strange god, an outer god. You see Moog taking that blood spear and just jamming it up in the air and stabbing the all-encompassing mother and just...
It is.
Blood. It's cool.
It's super heavy metal, and I think it's cool that we can find another spear that is essentially is meant for the same thing.
Yeah.
Because the first time you see it, I always thought Moog had the only one. You know, I didn't think I was going to run into something.
And there's a lot of them have it.
Lore-wise, that would do the same thing.
You must be going through a pretty horrible tragedy to come to the conclusion that I am into the blood mother. Moog was shoved down into the sewers and ostracized by his family, not loved by his mother. His dad did care for him, but also let mom lock you in the basement. So not a good dad.
No.
Not a good dad. And so he found the mother craving wounds down in the basement. And the Blood Fiends saw most of their people massacred. And then they're like, I guess I'm into blood now. I guess I'm just this one. This is my personality.
I would chalk this down as one of like the top 10. If they ever did, what's that show that on Netflix that does the Love, Death, and Robots, where they do the anthology of different stories?
Love it.
If they did one for Elden Ring that just did little captured moments in the lands between, I would love to see this scene.
Yeah.
Finding Moog turning to the Blood Mother and being like, "You're my homie now."
Just an anthology describing all of the children would be great.
It would be so good.
Yeah.
Well, they're talking about it. There's rumblings.
There's rumblings
of something.
Who knows what's going to happen? I'm still waiting for book 4 of the manga, which I started reading like 8 months ago.
Oh yeah, that's right. I have one on my shelf.
And they move so slow. So the strategy guide for Shadow of the Erd Tree will be coming soon. It's supposed to be coming anytime now, which I'm excited for that. This Sacred Spear, the Blood Fiend's Sacred Spear, scales with Arcane, so that's a rare one. And unique skill, Blood Fiend's Blood Boon.
Blood Boon.
Just put blood on it. Just put more blood in there. This is the Bloody Blood Boon. Raises the Sacred Spear and pierce the body of the Mother of Truth. Blood is truth. This is some Bloodborne shit. Creating an explosion of blood flame in the area surrounding the target. Additional input allows for up to 3 follow-up attacks. It seems to be bugged to only do physical damage, so sucks to suck. And functions similar to the Blood Boon ritual skill, but instead of creating an AoE centered on the caster, it emits a ranged area of effect. And as I don't use every weapon that I've come across, I go to the comments in the Fextra Life, and people fucking hate this weapon, so I'm not going to try it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always my go-to. I find a new weapon, and then I Google, is this better?
It's like,
is this better than what I'm using?
I found out I was using the star-lined sword for a long time, and people were like, oh, this weapon sucks. I'm like, I liked it.
Yeah, and that's what fucks me up in this game, too, because doing that boss rush at the end of the main game, when you have to fight Malekith and then Horaloo, and then
I like that you didn't even include Gideon. You're like, oh, he's a boss?
Is he? Well, he gave me trouble the first time. The second time, Taker's Flame, baby.
Yeah.
He didn't stand a chance. But I'll get to using a weapon, and then someone's like, this is dog shit. So then I don't trust anybody else's opinion, except for the Blasphemous Blade. Everybody was like, yeah, that's the GOAT.
Yeah.
But I'll find a weapon and be like, well, maybe it works for me.
It's, yeah, I mean, a lot of it's just up to preference. Only if I think a few weapons are unequivocally horrible.
It all comes down to attack animation for me. As long as I can get into the rhythm of the attack.
Yeah. I need swagger.
Yeah.
I need to look cool.
Oh, yeah. You need to have the drip.
That great katana always felt really cool.
And it looks good.
And I tried to go over to that dragon katana, whatever that one's called. Not cool. Too much of a curve. It doesn't have as much reach. I just feel like an idiot.
Yeah. No. Great katana's where it's at.
Embarrassed. There is an Ash of War on a dangling dung beetle over here. For scattered throw, employ smithing arts to conjure multiple copies of the armament in both hands and throw them all at once.
Pocket sand, pocket sand, pocket sand.
Pocket daggers. Only usable on throwing daggers. So yes, essentially you take your throwing daggers and you just throw a shitload of daggers. Throwing daggers is a weird in that it's its own weapon type. I haven't done much with them, but I know, like, yeah, you can use it to maintain stagger breaking on enemies, bosses. If they're far away, if it's between attacks, you can throw a few daggers, like, quick to maintain that buildup that you're trying to get.
Yeah. I would love to see someone do, like, a rogue build now, because we have throwing daggers. They got some really cool bows.
Or like Gambit?
Oh, Gambit.
Is that what you're talking about? Or just a rogue in
Just
general?
a straight up rogue, because stealth is I think an underutilized part of the game for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really sneak around. I kind of bust into everywhere like the Kool-Aid man.
I'd love to do an all sneak build. It's a little viable. When I was doing my second run through the DLC on New Game Plus, I was using, I forget the invisibility spell. So I would just throw invisibility on because I was just going to get weapons and knock out a few bosses. So I could run through a dungeon, and if I was like crouched, I could walk by almost anything.
Nice.
With invisible. But if you're running, they're like, they can hear you coming or like hear you a little bit.
Can you stack that spell with like the cotton? Could you pop the invisibility spell and then pop the cotton and be even quieter?
Yeah. And
That's pretty cool.
There's also a Ash of War that lets you negate all sound and become invisible. And that's the one you want. Yeah. It is very viable. There's a lot of different ways to play this game. The scattered throw, you throw 28 projectiles, 28 daggers at once.
That's obscene.
And you can hit multiple enemies up to 4 times. So, it's not bad.
No, that could be viable, especially if you've tailored your build to do that.
Well, and if you were into throwing weapons, you are in luck here, because this is Tayliu's Ruined Forge. Of course, Tayliu, the famous Golem. He is the Golem Smith of this forge. There's 3 of these forges that we run into in the Land of Shadow. We've done 2 of them before. Mm-hmm. It's much the same. There's going to be cute little lava monsters that hate you and Golem Smiths that hate you. But I think we're the bad guys.
Probably. I mean, when you spend your entire life just kind of roaming around killing every single thing in sight and then making the poor little demi-human Bach a vegetable, you're not going to be well received.
I don't know how you sleep at night.
It's tough. A lot of Ambien.
A lot of high life.
A lot of high life. Yeah. It keeps me up. I got nightmares.
Yeah. So we're going into this. This is the 3rd forge, and it is a named forge. It's Tayliu's. And like many characters in Elden Ring, they get a proper noun and not a lot of backstory about them. This forge is one that functions. There's a lot more gates. There's a lot more like kind of little trap hallways, but it's going to be, similar to the other ones. We do find a lot of Smith script weapons here. We find the Smith weapons axe, which this is for your Kratos effective range. So you throw an axe. Longer range than most Smith script weapons, but damage is heavily affected by effective range. So further away, less damage. And you also get the Smith script Great Hammer, which does the hammer throw style where you just swing around a bunch.
Like that Olympic sport.
Yeah.
That's not the discus.
The hammer throw.
The hammer throw.
It is the hammer throw.
Is it really?
Yeah, but it's not, you don't throw a hammer. It's like a ball.
Yeah, it's like a kettlebell or something like that.
Yeah. I watched some of that this year. It was great.
Yeah.
It's like strength plus momentum and dexterity.
Yeah, it's all about inertia.
Those are the kind of kids that would just be on like not the merry-go-round. What is that? The thing that goes
I just call it a merry-go-round.
A merry-go-round?
Yeah.
That would just be sitting there going around all day and just laughing.
Oh, yeah. And then when they grew up, they would take their dirt bikes and they'd put the wheel on the merry-go-round and then they'd hit the accelerator and then somebody would fly off and break their arm. And then the school took away the merry-go-round and then
you dropped out and you got really good at dirt bikes.
Yeah.
But then you got into drugs and you started working the Gravitron.
I wore a lot of leather all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could do a wheelie.
Knocked up a girl too young.
Yeah. Because she was addicted to crack and so was I.
So don't ride merry-go-rounds.
Yeah, if you have children, don't let them play professional football.
Yeah.
Don't let them on a merry-go-round.
Packers looking good, huh?
I mean, if we could have a kicker, that'd be nice.
You can also work on another cosplay here with the Smith script shield, if you want to throw a shield.
Captain America.
Yeah, little Captain America. Unique skill, the discus hurl. You throw the round shield like a discus using the smithing arts. Once thrown, it remains airborne for a moment before beginning a vertical rotation that chases down its target. So that's kind of cool. It's almost like more of a Hades shield.
Yeah.
Yeah. Works nicely against dodging enemies as they'll dodge when the shield is thrown and then be hit by its tracking. And it's good for unusual angles, launching the shield from behind the tower or the lower part of a staircase to hit unaware enemies above and further in.
Oh, that's nice.
Kind of turn a corner. Yeah. It's got unique spots, but I spent a lot of time in this forge. This was the longest grinding I did for any item in the DLC.
What item was that?
It was the Golem Fist. So the Golem Smiths, there's a rare variant that will hold its arm out and shoot it at you. It shoots its hand at you.
It's like what is the fucking name of that toy I used to have?
Like a Rock'em Sock'em robot?
Kind of, yeah.
A little bit like that. And it just, he shoots his fists. And it is an extremely rare weapon drop. And those guys can tank a lot of damage. So I go in there I cranked my arcane up. I used a special rolling spark Ash of War on a perfume bottle. And I did everything I could. And I was dropping my silver prickled foul feet.
I always forget to use those.
If you're looking for a certain item, that's what you got to use. But it's unfortunate because this is a very long run. You have to run like 30 seconds, pop your items, and fight two of these things at once, with only one of them having an extremely slim chance to drop it. I did manage to obtain it. This is the last rare weapon drop I got, though. And people don't seem to love this weapon that much anyways, but
hey, you did it.
I got it. The strong attack throws the entire fist forward as a ranged projectile for 0 FP. And two-handed throws both fists forward.
That's like a Superman punch.
It's like an M. Bison or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you complete this forge, you actually get Taliu the Golem Smith Spear Dash. The spirit of the stalwart stone golem who launches his own fists as projectiles. He was said to be the runt of the litter and the first to stop moving, but it was he who became the guardian deity of smithery. So, I mean, first to stop moving, maybe they weren't all stone originally. Maybe they acquired some sort of a curse because he was the first one that sounds like just kind of became pure stone, or first one to die. It's conjecture.
I mean, he was the hipster of turning to stone. He made it look cool first.
He was Dylan, and then everyone else started turning to stone, and Dylan's like, I don't like this anymore.
That was so 2009.
Yep, we're going to be gas now. We're going to be gaseous. If we head south of here, south of the forge, further towards the base of the ruins, we'll find a spirit spring that shoots us up very high into the sky to the northern nameless mausoleum.
Is this the biggest one?
Well, I mean, the biggest spirit spring?
Yeah.
Maybe. It is a big one.
It is, because I remember jumping on it
I believe it's 2 of them even. You go up very high.
Yeah.
And in this mausoleum, I mean, essentially all the way up here is only one thing to do, and it's a mausoleum that holds the dude named Red Bear.
Yeah, love it.
I love Red Bear.
You get a nice little vista when you land up there, too.
Yeah. It's with the DLC, if you get high enough from any vantage point, you can see everywhere.
Yeah.
You can see the jagged peak. You can see any or limb. Yeah. The shadow keeps always looming.
Yeah.
It's some good stuff. Red Bear lost his name to madness.
So he just picked a new one?
Well, he was so obsessed with bears, he forgot his real name.
So it's like Philip. And then he lost his mind and he's like, I'm Red Bear now.
I'm Red Bear. Dude, you watched a few movies about Leonardo DiCaprio and a bear, and all of a sudden you want to be a bear.
Yeah. Or you watched The Crow at a very young age, and then you tailor your whole life to want to look like Brandon Lee from The Crow, and you might grow out your hair.
Oh, not the new Crow.
No. Although in 20 years, we're going to see a bunch of fuckboys because they're going to be looking at that. Because as everybody knows, The Crow shapes the generation, the cool people of the generation, their aesthetic for the next 20 years.
That is definitely an opinion.
I got really into like gothic shit.
Yeah.
I got into good music. I liked Sting from WCW a whole lot.
Sting came after the Crow.
Yeah,
right?
he was inspired by Brandon Lee's look
because he used to be Sting before, but he was Sting with blue and green face paint,
and he always had the Scorpion Deathlock as his finisher for a long time.
Well, that's just a great.
But he had blonde hair, and he would do like colorful paint, like the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah,
and then WCW with the NWO and all that, they were going a more edgy, darker route. And I forget who told them, but they were like, "Yo, you seen this movie? You should do that."
So essentially, Philip watched The Bear.
And then, and then he
became a cook for a while.
Yep.
And then that failed miserably, and then he became a bear.
Yeah. Tale as old as time.
Tale as old as time. The bear, the cheek guards of his helm are shaped after lion fangs, so this perhaps his fascination with the untamed strength of the wild came from his past as a redmane. He might be one of your folks.
Hey.
I think that makes sense.
That does now.
Because they even call it the lion shape on there. He probably came there along with some of Radahn's forces following Mikola. Not following Mikola, following Mesmer. And this dude just encountered some bears.
So he could be a redmane, or otherwise he's just really bad at animal anatomy.
He doesn't know.
He doesn't know. He just saw a tooth and he was like, yeah.
It's like a bear. And after killing the great Red Bear in a blood-soaked bout, so Red Bear earned it, he became fascinated by the untainted glory of its naked strength. He says, I wish to be a bear, no more and no less. Pretty straightforward, actually.
Yeah, I mean, that's, in my experience dating on Hinge and Tinder, women want a dude who knows what they want.
So you're going to change your name to Red Bear?
Maybe I just classify myself as a bear.
What is your...
No, that's a different account.
Do you talk about your that you're a podcaster on your profile?
Sometimes. I switch it up.
Not on the front page, though?
I did for a while.
Okay.
It gets some eyebrows. They're like, what's your podcast about? And then I say beer and video games, and then it's unmatched.
That's why you say movies and TV.
I switch it up from time to time.
Check out our Charlie's Angels episode.
You'll love it.
Yeah, Red Bear drops the iron rivet set so you can be your own Red Bear. Doesn't come with the Red Bear hat, though. You need that separately.
You get it at Lids.
Yep, you get that at Lids. Or in New York for $5 on the street, but it might not be real. You also get Red Bear's Claw, which is a beast claw. It's scales with strength and some dexterity. This is what I used to beat Radahn my first time.
Really?
Yes, I wound up settling on the Red Bear because it causes 45 blood loss, which isn't a ton, but you attack so fast with the bear claws that you actually can proc blood loss pretty quick. The unique skill Red Bear Hunt, you slaughter prey with sharp claws and a great swipe of the arm. The attack creates a vacuum which deals continuous damage while you're doing it. And repeated inputs allow for up to 2 follow-up attacks, so just throwing blood loss like crazy. You're pretty exposed, you have to be close, though.
That's the name of my game.
You'll do it.
I'll do it.
Yeah. I still died probably 40 times with that method, but eventually it all came together.
If it bleeds, you can kill it.
Yeah. And Radahn, turns out I had his number. It just took a long time.
Yeah.
But guess who won? It says I've Glass Joe's stats, 1 in 75.
1 in 75.
from Punch Out, the first
Yeah.
guy. Yep, he's like 1 in 75. So he beat somebody, and people theorize it's actually Mike Tyson he beat.
That would be hilarious.
I don't know if that's true, but I'm going to say it is canon. If we go back down to the base, the Rauh Base, we can go to the Templetown ruins. It's pretty generous to call this little fort a village, a town. It's just 4 walls.
All you got to do, though, is file a charter, and they'll probably give it to you.
There are villages of like 1 person in the States.
Yeah.
You can be your own mayor, though.
Yeah. I mean, if you live in an unincorporated town, why not?
It'd be fun to move there for however long it requires, so you can just be the mayor and the postmaster and everything, and then it's just on your resume.
What if I did that? I moved to a town, I became mayor, and then like just made it illegal to wear clothes ever, and then left.
Well, there are state laws too.
I know, but I'm the mayor. You got to listen to the mayor.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor.
It is illegal to wear clothes, and then I dip out and I just leave and then leave them to figure it out. See how long everybody stays naked before they're like, is he coming back?
And you're like, nah, dude.
We don't know who the cops are because they aren't wearing uniforms.
The mayor moved. He lives in Milwaukee.
He's wearing sweaters in the summertime. He's a hypocrite.
Well, in the Templetown ruins, there's a little hole in the wall you can get in. It took me too long to find this, unfortunately. But there is a 2-handed sword talisman you get by ascending to the top of the Templetown ruins here. This talisman depicts a warrior 2-handing a sword, enhances attacks with 2-handed weapons. The horned warriors were fitting figureheads for the military might of the tower they kept watch over. Their deft attacks slashing through any and all foes. Enhances attacks enhances attacks with 2-handed weapons by 15%. So
I could use that.
I'm great katana man, so I would greatly benefit from this.
When I inevitably switch back to the blasphemous blade, I'm gonna use it.
Yeah. Well, and it's got to be specifically 2-handed weapons, I guess, because you can even 2-handed dagger, which is really dumb.
Oh yeah,
You can. I don't know where the cutoff is, but there's actually a mysterious figure who looks over the Templetown ruins, a superhero, if you will.
Bach. No, it's not Bach.
If you spirit spring up the cliffside, you can find the divine bird warrior Ornis. Now it says, Ornis succeeded in taming the divine bird and made its wings its own as he soared through the sky. When he finally fell to earth, he lived on as the guardian deity of the temple quarter. He's Batman.
It's Batman.
He's Batman, dude.
Yeah.
Or if there's probably if there's a better superhero analogy, I'm sure, but you find his ashes up on a spot overlooking the Templetown. Granted, he didn't get a good city to protect. It's like in The Boys, you want to get a good major city.
Yeah, you want a good market.
You don't want to get Hoboken, New Jersey.
Yeah, you don't want to be in Gary.
And this guy got Gary, Indiana.
Yeah, and he's just like, well, I'm not the hero they deserve, but I'm the one they need.
I am Bird.
I am Bird. It's Michael Keaton.
I just imagine him looking up there, very somber, and he sees no crime for 3 months straight. Oh, this is boring.
And then the day he lets his guard down.
Well, and at some point he died. This divine bird warrior, when you fight him, you don't fight a ton of these guys, but they will actually jump into the air and swoop down at you, and it's very cool, and they can actually pick you up and drop you. Always fun.
Yeah.
Always a good thing. It's less effective when you summon it, naturally.
Yeah.
But Ornis is up here. I enjoyed finding him. If you head northwest of the Templetown ruins, there is some rotten pests, some angry rotten pests. And these are definitely coming down from Rauh ruins up above, because we'll find more about Romina up there later. Here we can find the Gravebird's black quill armor, which this goes with the Gravebird's anklets from before. Essentially, it's just big bird arms, black feathers. Very cool looking.
Yeah.
This is what my first playthrough, Carly, she wore this, and she also wore the bear hat and the claws.
That's awesome.
I got a lot of my outfit right here. Yeah, and it kind of looks like the Birds of Justice or whatever they do in Always Sunny in Philadelphia with the white where they dress up as birds and
They're supposed to be eagles and they look like chickens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that, but with black feathers.
Yeah. I could see that. You look equally ridiculous.
It just works. I'd get done with a tough battle, and I just go into my menu or like turn around and look at my character, Carly. She's just covered in blood. She's got a bear head on, and she's got like big wing black feathers. I was like, it's pretty hot.
This is working for me.
Would. Did. And tucked away in a cave here, you'll find the Antiquity Scholars Cookbook. This is a record of crafting techniques left by the horn-scent academics who studied the ancient ruins of Rauh. This is how to make fire sprite stones. One thing we're going to find out about the Rauh ruins is there's not a lot of text. We don't know a lot about who created the original ruins back in the day. This reveals horn-scent scholars were studying here too. So this is before the horn-scent. This goes back to the Elden times.
Whenever we start getting out this far too, where like the lore starts to disappear and you're like, well, we don't really know how this got here. And then there's people like actively searching, like the Hornsent were, for answers. It always feels like a little bit of ancient history that's lost. Like it's going to be like Sumeria, where like, yeah, it was old as fuck and they had an alphabet, but what did they do? We don't know.
And there's always going to be a Reddit post. Where, and be it 5 upvotes or 2,000 upvotes, there's a lot. Like, I love fucking Elden Ring lore. And there's someone who's just smoking that good shit, and they're like, this is 100% definitely mushroom aliens.
Yeah.
And their hair is like starting to ascend itself, and they're like aliens, ancient aliens.
It's the founder of the ruins was Pepe Silvia.
It's Pepe Silvia. And they pull out one item description from one item that from a flower you've never picked up, and like, this is proof that this was in fact Titans. I'm like, what are you talking about? Titans? Are these giants? No, you idiot. They're separate species.
Yeah, and then you have to believe him because you're like, he knows more than I do.
Well, I have my own headcanon. I've gotten to a point where if something just feels right, it's just what happened in my head, and that's my accepted canon. There's a million interpretations for everything. We're going to talk more about America and the Abyssal Serpent in another episode. That's coming up soon, though. I'm excited for that. We're talking about Tiolier next week, and I'm very excited about that. That dude's a sleep dealer. I would definitely go see him. Right around here as well, you can find an ash of war called The Poison Flower Blooms Twice, which sounds like some sort of...
That's an emo album.
Oh, God.
That's an emo album. That's one made by some band you've never heard of playing a basement show in Cleveland.
And they're holding like a black flower on the front of the album or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And you look at it and you cringe every time you see it. You're like, that name's stupid. And then one day you're driving home from Chicago and that song comes on. You're like, that was good. What was that?
I am the emo.
Am I the problem?
I am the problem.
It's me.
Well, this conjures stingers of scarlet rot from below to stab the enemy. Landing a follow-up attack on a foe already inflicted with poison or rot deals massive damage in one fell swoop. The user performs a dive kick attack with the stinger from their foot. That's
pretty nuts.
That's straight up some like Castlevania or like Mega Man shit. The stinger from their foot inflicts scarlet rot to hit targets and creates a shockwave where landed that deals further damage and staggers enemies. The stinger inflicts 160 scarlet rot buildup.
Holy shit.
It's pretty sick.
Dude, that's insane.
The shockwave inflicts no scarlet rot buildup, though, only the dive kick, but very cool.
I do like that exists. I didn't know that was there.
Gotta go pick it up.
Yeah. I miss a lot of shit.
There's a lot in this game, it turns out. We're going to talk about every single item, though, I think, before this is done.
Oh, yeah. Why not?
We're almost there. Northwest of here, you can find the Gloried Attire set. 2 versions of the Highland Warrior armor set can be found, one in the Shadow Altus with the leather crown and Highland attire, and the second in Rauh Base with the leather headband and Gloried attire. Both are found as full sets and use the same arm and leg armor. It's a weird scenario. This garment is made with fabrics with both blue and red patterns. Red pattern fabrics were allowed only to those who hunted bears. the greatest and most glorious of the Highlanders. And
I can get down with that.
And you find this bear hunter's armor because they were killed by a bear.
Like the grizzly man.
I'm going to go live with the bears.
You know, I watched a good chunk of that the other day. He was killed by bears from a different group.
Doesn't matter.
But there's something to be said. The bears that he was living with didn't kill him. I always thought he was like just playing with a bear.
They didn't protect him.
I mean, would you? It's a bear.
Well, they were bears.
Even a bear's scared of a bear.
I don't know if that's true.
A bear's got to be scared of a bear.
I'm not sure. But the dude shouldn't have been living with bears. I'm going to go ahead and just say that. I believe that.
In terms of life choices that you can make, yeah, it's up there.
It's better not to live with bears.
Yeah, or Bears fans for that.
But living in harmony amongst, around bears is fine. But don't be one of the bears.
I'm not going to let a bear in my house.
I would never get into a hippo pen, but I would play with Mudang.
Yeah, he's adorable.
That's a girl.
She's adorable.
She is adorable.
I don't know. It's a little hippo.
SNL's back.
I know, but it's political season, so I'm not going to watch it.
It was mostly a big miss, the first episode, in my opinion. But there was a few bangers.
It's when I get so tired of the election season and them dipping into all of the presidential candidates. It's like I'm beaten over the head with political ads, and I don't want it here.
It's the only funny way to look at it. That and like Daily Show.
Daily Show is cream of the crop, especially Jon Stewart doing it again.
Good podcast as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That dude's amazing.
But here we find Rugally.
Rugally. That sounds like a weird type of pasta.
Bare necessities. Yeah, it's like Baloo. And Rugally, or you can say Rugalea. I like that too. This is the Great Red Bear. Fun fact, Redmane Freya can be summoned for this boss.
I'd be waiting.
You were ready.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you left your phone number in a ditch where no one walked by. No one can find you.
No, I wrote it in a bathroom stall, and instead of for a good time call, it's for a bear fight call. In case you ever need backup.
That wouldn't work in some bars, though.
No, you'd get outnumbered and beaten the shit out of.
Well, I was just thinking if you were in Dick's in Walker's Point for a bear fight.
Yeah, you're going to lose.
Or win. It depends on your perspective.
Yeah, it depends on how you look at it.
I mean, you want the oil with all that hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her gold summon sign is located just east of the Glory to Tire armor location. Fun fact, no one has ever found it. I don't think anyone's ever found it. Because I know I didn't. But this is our final big old bear fight. I'm sure you were sad to not fight more giant bears.
You know what? At the end of the day, I've made peace with my rune bears and my giant bears.
Yeah.
And even the little bears, the normal cave bears that you find.
I'm not afraid of them.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Rune bears, I mean, I just feel like CJ at the beginning of San Andreas. Like, oh, shit, here we go again.
Here we go again.
And I do it.
The regular rune bears, like the big guys in the base game, don't scare me anymore. The trick is stay close and roll forward towards them.
Yeah, go for the rump.
If you run away scared, they're going to punish you.
Oh, yeah.
And same with Rugalea here. But defeating her, I want to say her, an incantation, you get the Roar of Rugalea, an incantation of what is jokingly called the Bear Communion. How about everyone back the fuck off and let me be a bear for once?
Yeah.
It's not a joke.
It's a lifestyle.
Do people make fun of furries?
They do.
Oh.
Yeah.
I do. This transforms oneself into a great red bear and emits a mighty roar. Charging increases potency. So much like the dragon roars you can do, this is a bear roar.
I need that.
And to me, this proves that bear magic is real. I mean, this proves it. You can actually summon a bear.
I'm okay with this. If there's anything else besides a dragon that you're going to summon, a bear is up there.
Yeah.
Bears are awesome.
You're not summoning a dung beetle.
A moose would be nuts.
The Moose Communion.
I watched a bunch of videos.
Moose Communion, that sounds like some Wisconsin or Midwest shit.
That's
Canada.
That's a Canadian cocktail right there.
Moose Communion. Only served on Sundays. You actually put a little bit of moose blood into an old fashioned.
Yep. Or you can take the moose.
Oh, it's actually Malort.
Do they drink Malort?
Moose blood with Malort.
Oh, God. Screw that.
It's guaranteed to put hair on your chest.
You could also mix it with your Tim Hortons
That's a...
coffee.
Oh, okay.
It's a coffee joint that Canadians love.
Well, you're going to want that if you have this incantation. It is more akin to the divine invocation of the horn scent than it is to dragon communion. Only through desperate battle with the feral wild can one discover a god unique to oneself. I agree with all that shit.
Yeah.
Unless you go out and live in the wild, you can't figure out who you are.
This whole stretch feels to me like a what the Native Americans used to do, those like vision quests.
Yeah, just like a walkabout in Australia or something.
Yeah, where like you're trying to find yourself and you're throwing yourself out into the wilderness and you're like trying to survive and become a stronger person, and then you fuck up a bunch of bears and you're like, I'm a fucking bear now.
This is about becoming the bear.
Yeah.
And then you have to come back and show what you've learned to your tribe at the end. And instead, you just growl at them.
And they're like, he can stay.
I guess he can.
He can stay.
And then you just take up a spot outside the village protecting everybody.
Yeah. And I like it.
Yeah.
It does feel to me like a vision quest, though.
I like that. I'm in on all of that. Anonymous on Fextra Life, because I don't know if anyone can actually use their names, even with an account. But this is what Anonymous said. This may be one of the best incantations in the game now as of the latest patch. Insane damage with very respectable range for a very low faith investment. On top of that, it hits a short distance behind you, hits through walls, can turn on a dime for the second part of the charge version, has huge stagger potential as well as a knockdown effect at the end, and for all at the low cost of 17 FP, which is extremely efficient for the widespread carnage it can cause. So I think we should all become bears.
Yeah. Bear it up.
And nearby, on a giant pile of bear shit, you can find a cookbook.
I'd wash it first, but yeah, that's helpful.
It's still a free book.
Yeah.
And you know what you can make with it? The hefty fetid pot.
Perfect.
This fetid pot is a pot of shit. You're throwing
a pot of sewage.
You're throwing a dung pot at somebody. It causes 200 deadly poison buildup on yourself when you do it, though.
You're just throwing a diarrhea cocktail.
It's a little leaking.
A little bit.
It's a little leaking. Yeah, but if you ever wanted to throw a deadly poison pot of shit, here's your sign.
Yeah, and as a pothead, I'm going to throw it. I'm going to make it at least once and throw it and see how it goes for me.
Before we move on to the next thing, I was curious, how much does the currency in Elden Ring translate to US dollars?
How much is a rune?
How much is a rune?
Like one rune to $1.
Yeah.
What is it?
Well, there were a number of ways I could have gone about it, because you need to find an item in the real world that also exists in Elden Ring.
Well, there's plenty of shields and shit.
But also, the economy then is tricky because
people aren't buying shields anymore.
Something that I did find that exists now.
There's like jerky.
Well, the Blackguard, Big Boggart, he sells cooked boiled prawn.
Yeah, there you go.
And prawns you can buy cooked prawns for around $26 in the United States.
They're that expensive?
Well, I'm sure they vary, but that's for a pound of them.
Okay, so a pound of prawns.
And that seemed like about what you're getting for like a bowl of prawns from him.
Yeah, he's not giving you one prawn. That'd be a rip.
So boiled prawn costs 600 runes.
Okay.
Okay, so if at 600 runes to $26, $1 is worth 23.08 runes.
Okay. So their economy's down a little bit.
Yeah, so they're like 4 pennies for a rune-ish. So, but it is what it is. So defeating Millennia will give you $20,800. Seems not fair.
That can buy you 1/3 of a Toyota 4Runner.
Or half of a PlayStation 5 Pro. But for real, though, the PlayStation 5 Pro would cost 16,156 runes.
16,000. Damn.
Yeah.
If they honor that.
I wish they did.
I could have that by tonight.
I was thinking I could go further into this, but that was just initial findings on currency. If anyone's listening and they have any other feedback on a better way to find the currency value, let me know.
I think that's pretty fair, though.
Yeah, I mean, defeating a demigod monster lady in a tree. I don't know what that's worth.
I mean, it's worth more than 20 grand, but
20 grand's a lot of money though, too.
Yeah, but to fight a god,
Yeah.
there's people who hire hitmen to kill their spouses for like 10 grand. I listened to enough Small Town Murder to know that that's probably.
Well, they're probably so
right.
afraid of their spouse that it's like fighting millennia.
Oh yeah, if you can't take out your spouse, you ain't gonna take out a god.
And hopefully the hitman doesn't find out they have a second phase. That's where it's an extra 10,000.
Most spouses do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's harder to kill people than people think.
Yeah, because phase one rarely goes right because it's usually just an undercover cop posting on Craigslist.
That movie Hitman's so good.
Yeah. Oh god.
Yeah, very good. Let's head to the final dungeon of this area, though, the Scorpion River Catacombs. Huge catacombs. This is one of the lengthier dungeons I want to say we get here in the DLC. We very quickly find the Spirit Ash for Black Knight Captain Hugh. Hugh was the Knight Captain of the Black Knights, so that's cool. Black Knights were the primary force of Mesmer's army. Second to their first Knight Commander was Hugh, a man with agile command of both twin blade techniques and the powers of the Crucible. Though a champion of the Divine Beast Hunt, he followed his father, Andreas, into rebellion against Mesmer. And like his father, he too was imprisoned in an underground tomb. Mesmer mourned the loss of a brother in arms. They realized Mesmer's war was never going to end, and they wanted out, and they raised up. Didn't work, though.
Damn.
Didn't work, though. The Black Knights, sadly, these two were killed by Mesmer. But you can find the ashes for Hugh down here. You can get yourself a new imp head here, the lion, if you want to be an imp. I don't. Dropped by the imps, so you can get the lizard greatsword. This is a peculiar weapon carried by imps. It's a greatsword smithed in the shape of a fork-tongued lizard. Fun thing about this, strong attacks allow the wielder to fire the forked tongue from the blade.
Love it.
Strong attack, you're shooting tongues at people.
Love it. Very alien.
Very cool. Strong attacks perform a regular thrust forward in addition to firing the forked tongue as a projectile. This also introduced the basilisk statues and floating eyes. You can actually go invisible, and they won't see you.
Oh, sweet.
Yes, the floating eyes, for some reason, I don't know if Miyazaki thought a lore reason for this to happen or not. He probably just thought it would be fun.
Yeah. I mean, you have enough lore. You got to do some fun shit.
He's like, those nerds on Reddit will figure it out.
Or he's going to just throw a curveball that has no meaning and watch us scatter.
It was a 10th demigod child, and everyone freaks out. You can also get a fork-tongued hatchet down here. Hatchet smith in the shape of the forked-tongued dragon. The gently undulating forked blade is known as the imp's tongue and causes blood loss.
Kinky.
Yeah, you got to pay extra for the imp's tongue. I'm into it. There is a unique skill, Dragon Form Flame, on this weapon. Spew fire from a Dragon Form Maw, sweeping in a frontward arc. The flames on the ground will continue to burn for a short time, identical to the Fire Breather skill. So yeah, a lot of cool imp weapons down here, and we're going to just keep going deeper. You get an incantation for Knight's Lightning Spear. This is one of the incantations of the capital's ancient dragon cult. Summons a lightning spear while also manifesting ancient dragon crests. On throwing the spear, the crests will launch additional spears, charge to increase the number of crests, and add a bolt of lightning to impact. This was only taught to the most accomplished knights and is now a lost art in the land between. So
It's like cursive. You got to teach the young ones. You got to keep it alive. Otherwise, no one's going to know what's going on.
All the cursive people left. They went to the land of shadow, and now we don't know how to do it anymore. I mean, it shows that America was also sending the most accomplished knights.
The heavy hitters.
She was sending the A squad in here.
Yeah.
Or the squad she wanted to just get rid of and erase from history. Maybe she wanted to get rid of the ancient dragon.
She's a pretty good ruler. I'm imagining that she probably picked the strongest, and then some of the people where she's like, if you don't come back, that'd be fine.
I think when you say pretty good, do you mean pretty effective? Or do you mean a good, like a moral?
Effective.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think moral.
What if there was like Civ Elden Ring?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Well,
that would be sick.
Who knows?
A real-time strategy of the shattering.
I bet you there's a mod out there for it because they did Game of Thrones immediately.
So you can play as everybody?
Yeah, I did it once on my old PC.
Who'd you play as?
Oh, the Starks.
You would.
Yeah.
I'd be Greyjoys.
I chose the Starks. I don't remember any of the perks or anything, and it was before they had any of the, like, people ended up making drawings of the leaders, so at least you had something to look at when you were, like, talking.
Yeah.
But they had the emblems and some cool...
I don't even need pictures. I can just see them in my brain.
Once the pictures came up, though, it was pretty dope. I didn't play it after that, though.
I can just see Sansa Stark whenever I close my eyes, dude. It's crazy. You get an Ancient Dragon Knights cookbook down here, the second one. A record of crafting techniques. The Ancient Dragon Knights who followed Godwyn's Golden Knights to the realm of shadow. This is so you can make Dragon Bolt grease and drawstring Dragon Bolt grease geese. The final boss for this little area is the Death Knight. This Death Knight is wielding the Death Knight's long shaft axe, which we can acquire.
It was a good weapon.
You were a big fan?
Big fan.
Yeah. Unique skill, Blink Bolt, long-hafted axe.
This, when I got the twin axes and it had Blink Bolt on it, I like that one because the second follow-up attack is really devastating. But when I was making my build, it was all about, you got to get this one.
Yeah.
This one's way better. If you like Blink Bolt and you like the twin axes, and especially for like my strength faith build, this is what it was kind of pushing me towards.
Yeah. This is part of your journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't look up where to get it for the longest time. So I was just kind of like, every time I would go in somewhere, I'm like, I hope there's a Death Knight.
It feels really good having collected every item, weapon, and armor in the game. I feel so much freer now that I don't have to worry about finding something.
Yeah.
I have it all.
Have you started New Game Plus then?
No, I just quit playing. I'm playing Final Fantasy 12 right now, actually. It's very good. The knight, once the personal guard of Godwyn, was also the protector of the Prince of Death's cadaver surrogate. So this is stating that we know Godwyn became an undying fish carcass at the roots of the Erd tree.
That's the dream.
That's where we're all going. Amen, brother. And these knights were the personal guard of Godwyn before, and they have continued to guard him afterwards. Like, dude, he's an undying fish carcass spreading disease across the planet.
Not going anywhere.
Let him be.
No.
You can also get the talisman Cerulean Amber Medallion +3 when you defeat him, and raises maximum FP by 12.5%. No joke. Not a laughing matter. That's all we got for today's episode.
Enjoy. Bite size.
I'm very excited. The Rauh Base was always kind of like an oddity amongst the rest of the episodes because certain areas are so well defined. You know what to expect from them. And this one is a little more rambling. I am happy that it is just the journey to become a bear.
Yeah. And that I'm totally fine with that being the end.
That is perfect. Our next episode, we're going to do the Cerulean Coast, and that research got me super hyped on Elden Ring again. Tiolier and Saint Trina is fascinating. I did a lot of diving into where the coffins come from, those giant stone coffins, putrescent knights, and there's a lot of like high level talks of gods and reincarnation and stuff. Very excited to talk about. So that'll be coming up on the next episode, and that'll be 49. And then following that is episode 50, which we've been going. We've been cooking on this for quite some time, and the cooking doesn't stop for at least a good while still. So look forward to all of that. And this has been Elden Dogs, and I have been Sir Ansbach.
I'm Lady Freya. Pet a bear today.
Go pet a bear.
Go pet a bear. Let the bears know that not the bears.
Fuck the bears.
Fuck the bears. But if you see a bear, throw a piece of cheese at them. I hear they like that.
Special thanks to Patreon executive producers Rykard, Christy, Nick Malakip, The Black Blade, Blackguard, Big Brian Ward, Jordan Hoslow, Sorceress of Blood, Festering Fingerprint, Phil Wright, Iron Phil, just Phil.
Yeah.
Bell Bearing, Hunter, Bryant Ross, Crucible Knight, Kelly Gutowski, Justin Belliesmer, The Impaler, and Imagine Ghostline Wagons. We appreciate your support. And we will see you all next time on Elton Talks.